able to. Our race should be starting soon. There they go. A quick small disclaimer is that my computer is currently broken, so I'm commentating from my phone. So anyone in chat, if you have questions, Espeon will have to be the one answering them. I'm not ignoring anyone, but I really can't switch back and forth between the stream and chat. We have zer0rush taking a pretty interesting start that he's really fond of. Started sank and used the Houlihan room. Michael opting to check Lake Hylia Island and glitch down there. Now, what he's doing is he's getting himself 8 pixels into the wall so that he can do a downwards teleport onto that ledge. Oh, no, looks like he's actually going to Hobo with fake flippers. Regardless, by hopping on the ledge afterwards, he's able to bypass the screen transition. But in this case, he decided to move up, meaning that his camera and his screen ID did match with where he was. Ether on Hobo, which is may or may not... Oh, did I hear that? Did I hear someone? I do have someone who's joining me at least for a bit. Thought I heard him. Ether might be required for Meyer, which is the only thing that really does require medallions besides maybe Ice Palace. Fire Rod for zer0rush.
Hi, how much did I miss?
Not much. We have Fire Rod for zer0rush, Ether, and now just Kane for Michael.
That is a very nice start.
It is. Fire Rod, if he chooses, he could complete Desert right now. Also, both players have half magic. They got it from Link's House.
It is a very useful tool to have this early. That just eliminates all need for another weapon for Lamolus, doesn't it?
Yep. It also actually lets you get back there. Whereas if they got the Ice Rod, they wouldn't be able to get back there to kill Lambo.
It is also interesting to get these very specific items this early. This could be a front of Turtle Rock without the pearl.
That would be interesting to see as well. Although for that we would need to see the mirror and the hammer. Or the mitts.
I think the mirror alone suffices because you can mirror clip over to the east side of Death Mountain.
Sword for Michael and Escape. I'm not 100% sure if that is in logic. But maybe.
I'm also not sure because the only type I've ever seen that particular combination was also a time when I did have hammer.
zer0rush is opting to do an early Kakariko clear with Michael going for Escape. Probably because he got that Cane of Samaria from Uncle, allowing him to just clear out the rest of the area.
This is a very sound idea. You generally have 2 opportunities to route in Escape nicely, right? When you're coming out of Uncle and if you're given a Pyramid Fairy Clip, but otherwise it just feels so awkward.
We do have zer0rush getting the flippers, an item which we might not actually want to see. That could point him towards Swamp, which is the only way that flippers are really required.
And also the bow. This is front-loaded right now.
This is a very front-loaded seed. Although, yesterday their seed was pretty front-loaded as well. That ended up giving them quite a bit of trouble.
I'm sure both these races right now are very much praying for an easier to access Moonpo.
Yeah, and if it does end up difficult, I'm hoping they have learned their lesson with more efficient routing in the Dark World.
It was definitely something to take a page from. I think Michael ended up going through every last location in the Dark World that could potentially hold the Pearl.
No, he actually skipped out on Ice Palace.
Oh, right, yes, he did.
Although while he did Ice Palace, well, he skipped Ice Palace and zer0rush did it. zer0rush, I believe he did skip Turtle Rock, whereas Michael did it. We have a standard DMA from Michael. Using an upwards teleport near the top of the screen, he clips to what... Ooh, that's gotta hurt. Yeah, Death Mountain...
That is not good.
Yeah, it's very easy to get up Death Mountain, but with that also comes the consequence of trying to survive it. No, you go.
That is probably one of the most dangerous ascents, as far as I know, because I think all the other ones actually put you in a position where you don't have to deal with cabbages and boulders.
Yeah, but it's also it's the one that leads to Old Man the fastest, and if you can get in there and rescue the Old Man, it means you don't have to do this ever again.
It is apparently even faster, even if you have the gloves to get to the Old Man. I learned about that yesterday.
That I did not know, but I usually find it annoying enough that I'll just use the gloves anyways. zer0rush is going with a less glitchy route and going through the south shore of Hyrule. You might be right about Turtle Rock because he just found the ice rod.
Looks like Michael's about to get out of the cave with the Old Man. That's a fair bit safer now, because even if he manages to get himself in a bad situation, he'll be respawning where he picked up the Old Man.
Actually, you might be a bit behind because you did just rescue the Old Man.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. I'm actually looking at the wrong screen. I will do this like 2 more times.
Looks like he's going for a graveyard ledge. I've actually seen this location burn a couple racers in other matches. There's the Moon Pearl, along with the lamp. Just 300 rupees for Michael on Graveyard Ledge.
It seems like we're going to skip the trolley part of the whole deal, though. With that Moon Pearl from Mini Mordor, they should be on a good way to not have to do interesting things to access the Dark World, right?
Yeah, they have no. Without major glitches, right now only after Death Mountain Ascent, once they're in Dark World, the only place they can reach without major glitches is the west part of the Dark Death Mountain, but they do have the entire Overworld, including East Dark Death Mountain, open to them once they can click down. Michael heading to Kakariko. He's going to pick up a few of the useful items that zer0rush has already found. And zer0rush picks up Ether.
I had to step out for a second. Is there any progress?
No, not really. Michael's gonna pick up the things that zer0rush has, and zer0rush has gotten Ether. Though it does look like zer0rush is gonna pick up a few items Michael has not seen. headed off to the Zora area.
I do believe he has been to Death Mountain yet, right? So
No, he has not.
we may actually see a Zora Death Mountain ascent from here.
That would be interesting. zer0rush does not have enough rubies for Zora, though, so he's going to have to farm a little bit.
Oh no. He could... no, actually, he has flippers, not a water walking straight right now, so he cannot clip to the ledge as far as I know.
No, he cannot. Looks like he's going to have to take a very weird option, which is go down to Zora Ledge, grab that money, and then do an entire loop back around Zora's domain just to get the Zora item.
Yes, this is agonizingly slow, unfortunately. It is still probably better than farming mini Zoras, though, and then ending up not getting any rupees. But unfortunately, it's only a piece of heart, so...
Yeah, although I guess that is better than just wondering what could have been.
It 100% is.
Michael having fun with blocks, learning his shapes. Only a single shape, unfortunately, known as the square.
It is a very nicely shaded square.
Oh, I see what he's doing. You know, he has a sword, so what he could do is possibly the greatest minor glitch, medallion cancel. If he were to charge a spin, release the spin, and then on the same frame that he releases the spin, press the Y button, he would use the magic for the medallion without actually casting it. zer0rush finds a sword. That gives him a nice little bit of spin speed to speed up his trek to Eastern Palace.
It's also worth noting that Michael had to save and quit there. Unfortunately, if you have the flippers, the bat clip that he was trying to do is actually going to become a lot less forgiving. You no longer get dumped back to the ledge if you miss your window for jumping across the screen transition.
Yeah, it is still possible though, but as you said, it's a lot less forgiving.
And I believe he was 1 pixel too far in, which caused him to not be able to dash far enough.
Michael finds his fire rod. This might lead him to desert, which is right nearby.
He is now going to be very sad about wasting all that magic on learning about squares.
And wow, that's our 3rd shield already.
This is spelling out Turtle Rock to me. I don't know about you, but
yeah,
it's just...
Yeah, it kind of is. Well, one thing you may be wondering is that it has been discussed in previous matches that minor glitches are actually required in this mode. However, fake powder is not one of those that are required. And this is because the mushroom is an inexhaustible resource. If you turn it into the witch, and let's say the powder was on Magic Bat, that would end up meaning that the powder is never obtainable, and that's not something the randomizer is happy about.
It is a situation that could potentially just soft lock your entire seed.
Yup. So for that reason, fake powder is not required. Michael on his second try does get Magic Bat clip. Now he's going to perform fake powder. This is a very interesting minor glitch. By pausing before the game tries to really use the Cane of Samaria, it's sort of stuck in a state where it's like, okay, what do I need to do next? And if you switch to the mushroom, it's like, okay, this is what I need to do next. I need to use the routine defined here, and that routine is creating the magic powder ancilla. Interestingly enough, this also works with other items. It works with the bow, causing you to fire the bow. However, it does cost an arrow still. It works with the mirror, causing you to use the mirror, and it even works with the hammer, causing you to slash your sword and destroy a bush in front of you. However, from what we've tested so far, that is the only thing it is good for, destroying bushes.
That is weird at best.
We do see Michael... Oh, no, you go.
Game's broken, man. That's all I'm trying to say.
Yep, we do see Michael K using a map wrap to follow zer0rush into Eastern.
We did also see him try this yesterday, and unfortunately he walked into a hard lock. If you do a map wrap like that, and at any point you are forced to move, right, you will hard lock the game. That is, I'm explicitly highlighting move because if you bonk or if you take damage, you're actually still sitting on a screen transition that's following you around, and those don't actually push you into a transition. That you won't transition off of those movements, so you actually just don't get moved right in those situations.
Luckily for Michael, he does get it first try, so no loss of progress for him.
Learn his lesson.
Although, I do believe the only thing he did was Magic Bat and the Shovel Spot, so even if he did lose that progress, he would have been fine.
He would have actually regained magic.
Yup. Well, luckily no magic is needed in this dungeon.
I think at this point it's one of the big reasons he's doing it. Because while Desert was open, he already used most of his magic pool, so the fast kill of Lamolus using the Fire Rod was not easy to achieve.
zer0rush just headed to the desert area, though. And he finds that...
get the hammer.
That's just pointing to Turtle Rock.
To be fair, at no point did you need that. You may have needed it, but since we picked up the pearl, you definitely don't.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Although the pearl could have been placed later than Turtle Rock, but you know what? To me, it's still just screaming Turtle Rock. May not be necessary, but that is the way to open. That is the way to open the entrance above Turtle Rock and get to the medallion spot without glitches.
And yes, that may actually be required according to the game logic. You can 100% of the time avoid it by stealing the key from the middle pokey.
Oh no, you don't need to steal it, just don't use the key to after chomps. Michael K, unlike zer0rush, is going to have to do a couple dark rooms. Despite being a glitch mode, these are not in logic. But we do know that because the lamp was in Mini Moldorm Cave, that this room is currently in logic for both players.
And it's a fair bit easier when you have the lamp.
Unfortunately, he didn't.
The Igor on the left side could, at any point, decide to just follow you around and make your life hell.
Although a small but ultimately inconsequential downside to having used all his magic is that he couldn't use the fire rod to light the lamp. Although he got through that room just fine, so all in all, it didn't really matter.
The back of Eastern Palace is one of those dark rooms that you'll be practicing a lot, even in no major glitches seeds.
We have zer0rush clipping into a ledge, having it force him into a jump to get to the back of desert. After this, he will be forced to save and quit unless Lambo has the gloves.
Which could very well be the case, since the back desert is open, according to the logic, from the very beginning of the game, and you only need the items to beat Lambotus to actually beat it.
Michael K gets his first crystal. We'll see if he heads to South Shore next, or if he decides to do something else. There is a lot open to him.
I think he is going to Sahashala, and he is very likely to actually just flip over to the South Shore. He has demonstrated yesterday that he knows the way from the 5 flute spot to actually get to Ice Rock Cave.
Yup, and that's one of those clips that isn't required, but is very useful. Michael K gets his Master Sword, though.
Where did he get his other sword?
That was in the map chest of escape.
Oh, so that's why zer0rush does not have...
Michael K looks like he's going to turn in his mushroom. He'll be doing an upwards teleport here to get onto the potion shop screen. Although I do believe he is one bump too high. Oh, nope, there we go, he's corrected himself.
This is one of the less intuitive ones.
Yeah, it's also one you have to be careful with because it's very easy to jump down. Looks like Michael jumped down into an unfavorable spot, forcing him to save and quit. You may have noticed a boundary line to the left of him. That's one of those screen transitions that's between 2 small screens that you only really see if you click to them from a larger screen. If he were to touch that, he would end up in an infinite screen scroll.
Fortunately, both the Sanctuary spawn spot and the whirlpool near the Link's house provide him an easy way to get to the witch.
Yep, we may also see a Zora check in here.
He would have to clip over the rock, however.
Yep, I don't think I've seen that yet in the race, so it would be cool to see.
Meanwhile, zer0rush has ascended Death Mountain, and we are going to see a Hera clip from him, which is one of the most common clips that you will end up doing in a Overworld glitches race. Its utility is amazing.
Yep, and we do see Michael K clipping above the rock with an upwards teleport and moving on to the next screen. Unlike zer0rush, he has plenty of money, so he won't have to go around to grab that Zora item. That Zora ledge item, rather. zer0rush, fully familiar with Fighter Sword Tower of Hera, showing up his NMG strats. Then we'll probably see a hammer for the Moldon fight.
Chat pointing out that we're indeed seeing something close to an NMG run, zer0rush completing Eastern, Desert, and then Hera in that order.
Likely going to see a Lumberjack check from him, hopefully. We can count that as Aghanim, since there's no reason to kill Aghanim in this seed.
If he picks up the book, he might even check the pedestal, which would count as the pull.
Yep, so we're really hoping to see, just like an NMG reenactment this seed. Actually, speaking of vanilla categories, zer0rush actually set a world record this morning, probably in preparation for this race. Or was it last night? It was within the last 24 hours. He completed the category Master Sword, no wrong warps, EG or DG in, I think it was 1830 something. That's basically get the Master Sword and use as many major glitches as you like. Except, you know, the cooler ones.
That is pretty neat time.
zer0rush gets his third crystal, and Michael K is heading up Tower of Hera. Slightly less vanilla for him.
Could be construed as such, but now it involves the use of major glitches.
Yeah, just slightly, because, you know, in the vanilla run, you usually don't have the mushroom by now. If you grab the mushroom, you usually do that after Tower of Hera.
In the meantime, zer0rush performing very nicely the clip that gets you over from west to east F Mountain. This works in both worlds and is commonly used. I'm not sure why he didn't. I'm actually sure why he didn't take the hammer bridge, because he had to check what was inside Spectacle Rock. I don't think it actually saves any time in that situation if you have the hammer, though.
Possibly not. Michael J, unfortunately, falling for his bomb jump.
He is now trying the much safer strat that only dumps him down one floor. And he gets it.
Unfortunately, zer0rush has not visited Escape or Uncle, so we might see him go to Dark Death Mountain from here, but we're not going to see our Turtle Rock play. At least not as much of it as we could be seeing.
With the hammer in hand, he would have a convenient weapon for Trinex, so this is quite unfortunate for him. I think he would definitely opt to finish it if it turned out to be a crystal.
My stream flashed a bit, but looks like trackers can. The tracker visuals is confirming that he did find the Bombos medallion. That's 2 of the 3 that could be locking Meyer, and that might be important if Meyer is a crystal. Ooh, this could be a Ganon's Tower play from zer0rush.
It most certainly is. You have no reason not to reset the camera unless you're going to either Ganon's Tower or the Pyramid Ferry. And we see pendants in Ice Palace, Turtle Rock, and Skull Woods. So it does turn out that the Turtle Rock play is probably not something that is particularly appealing.
I don't know. You know what they say about Pendant Turtle Rock?
That you don't like dipping it?
Yep, that means you do. Now, zer0rush doesn't have the hook shot, which is logically required to complete the left side of Ganon's Tower. However, he is known to be able to hover, which means he can complete the entire left side. Also, he can complete the entire upstairs. He has a fire source and a means to kill all those bosses.
It's also worth noting that you don't need to be able to hover to complete the left side. You can use 2 bomb jumps and substitute the rest of the hookshot sections with bonking.
Yep. Not only the bonks are in logic, however, hovering does get you up here much quicker and much more easily.
That was a very nice hover across the first cap.
Yep. Quick and smooth. It's objectively the easiest major glitch to perform.
At this point in time, however, he won't be able to skip the hookshot in this seed, because we know that Swamp Palace is indeed a crystal.
Yep,
and even if you hover, you need the hookshot for the backside of it.
Yep, but it does give him a clean single trip for a large portion of Ganon's Tower.
Yep, currently it gets him 22 chests if the big key is on the left side or the back.
Yep, the only chest that would not get him are 4 chests. The only chests he can't get are 4 chests upstairs and the big chest if the big key is locked by the right side. And he's in his current situation, because he does not have the Cane of Samaria, he's locked out of the tile room and the 4 compass chest rooms.
He is probably going to be kicking himself if the big key is not here, because that cane has been available.
Yep, from the very start.
To answer the question in chat, the Samaria was in the Uncle drop.
Where were silver arrows? I don't think I noticed that, but it does appear that both players have it.
Yeah, I totally missed that too. Had to be something fairly early.
Well, there's the big key. That means zer0rush can complete the upstairs.
Now he just has to hope that the right side isn't important, because coming back for that isn't actually that appealing. Meanwhile, Michael picks up his bacon sword from the sick kid.
Yep, that's 3 very quick swords. Looks like Michael's doing his desert play. He'll have probably a much easier time with Lambo, because he can do a quick 1 cycle with the Fire Rod and Temper Sword.
Zero entering his Ice Almost fight right now. Should be very quick with bow and silvers in hand. Having a little trouble with the final phase there. Unfortunately, he didn't hit his sideways arrow. And the ice physics is not forgiving.
Nope, nothing locked behind Ice Harmos, though. And because we didn't see a save and quit, this probably means we're getting a big chest check, followed by a cleaning up of the upstairs.
He is getting fairies, so this looks a lot like OWG. While I agree with this play, he is on 8 hearts and green mails. And only a fighter sword, so it's kind of a execution challenge.
Although he is a very good player. The biggest time loss is going to happen with Moldor and any failed hovers. To get that chest, he is going to need to kill Moldor each time. And it would not be a wise move to skip that 1 chest after that's at the top of this long dungeon.
As far as he knows currently, he will require... Okay, he doesn't know where the cane is, so as far as he knows, it could be in that chest. And of course, there's the mirror.
That's a good find.
As in, there's the mirror that he doesn't have yet.
Yeah, that's still a good find, even though he doesn't have it.
Fair enough.
He does have the mirror shield, though. Operates slightly differently.
Could potentially save his life.
Yep, it does block the mimic lasers. Now this might give us a partially vanilla dungeon order, because we could see zer0rush take his position from the pyramid and use that as a means to get the pod.
That is almost certainly the play he expects to make. It's actually very convenient to be able to do up against now before you even have to go to the pyramid. It's an extra item that you get easy access to.
But unfortunately, he does not have the mirror, so he's not going to be able to lump escape into this. That would get him both his Master Sword and the Cane of Samaria.
We are looking at an NMG dungeon order, so that cane is not important yet. He'll only want that by the time he gets to Maya.
Yeah, that is what we are rooting for.
Michael K picking up his third crystal from Desert Palace, putting our races even on crystals.
zer0rush showing you don't need a Cane of Samaria to one-cycle Wizrobes.
It was in weird way a landmo thing. It's just in different rooms.
Yup. Showing that even though you can one-cycle Wizrobes, you can only two-cycle them.
Oh, that's very punishing. Takes 3 hearts worth of damage from a single bonk off of one of those guards.
Yup, using more NMG strats with the lamp here. Not as important in Rando for him right now because he has plenty of magic along with half magic. zer0rush waiting patiently for the door to close, as if he went upstairs at the same frame that the door closed, the game gets a little confused and it thinks he's in one room, updates the data, and then it lets him continue. This is commonly known as a sprite despawn for Ganon's Tower, although in reality the sprites are actually on screen still, they're just really far off screen. zer0rush taking no chances and killing these Helmosaurs.
He's looking for the key, which I don't blame him for. If you end up getting into the tower room with no key and it does not contain a key, you'd have to reascend the tower.
Yup, he did use that middle door, so that was very much a possibility. zer0rush waiting patiently for the lag to stop.
He's through.
Yep, first try hover, that's very good for him. He's fully cleared the upstairs, and now all he has to do is kill Aghanim too. The chest does not stay there unless it is collected, so if he had fallen, he would have had to kill Moldorm 2 again. And it looks like Michael K is finally going to get his lamp and moon pearl.
He is going to be very happy about it. I expect excitement slashes.
Maybe, because this is a little bit late at 0-0-0-0-0-0 for him. Although it is coming with just a standard Light World full clear, so it's not like he's been just kind of moving around randomly trying to look at one-off spots. He's been very efficient with his routing so far, so getting a pearl 38 minutes in doesn't really hurt him.
With 3 crystals in hand, it's definitely something not to be too bummed about. Seems like he is going to try and save a bomb and just teleport behind the entrance.
Ooh.
But he doesn't get it.
Missed it a little bit. And yep, he's kind of stuck. That bomb didn't save him. He's going to have to save and quit.
And this is why you don't want to be fancy. You know the glitches, but why not just do it the vanilla way?
He was just one bump too high, but he'll probably remember that in the future. That's usually what you remember best, the stuff you mess up. Michael doing something on Death Mountain.
He did reset his camera. I expect this to go to the dark side. of East Death Mountain. Getting his map check. 5-6 crystals, by the way, are Palace of Darkness and Thieves Town, which may end up being important without the mirror.
Yep, both are fully clearable right now. To both players, I believe, actually. No, Michael K. looking like he's going to do a standard Death Mountain descent.
Yes, he is, and it's honestly just a good play. You'll get Village of Outcasts out of this, you'll probably clear at least some part of Skull Woods, curve into Hype Cave, maybe even go up the path from there.
It also gets him a 4th crystal.
Very much true.
I think it was the Skull Woods first. Michael does have a slight sword advantage. He'll be able to take care of bosses much quicker and cleaner. zer0rush has been making good use of his silver arrows in hand, though. It'll be a bit more difficult on some bosses like Mothula if zer0rush goes there before getting his tempered sword.
On the other hand, zer0rush is currently in Blue Mail and with 10 hearts, so he should have a slightly easier time on Mothula. He could just use Hammer Strats. Michael, if he's on full health, he can tank no more than 3 hits from the Moth himself. Herself, I don't know.
Michael decides not to risk it with the bomb jump. And goes the completely vanilla way. Okay, almost completely vanilla. You're meant to hit a star switch, but he doesn't care.
Gets a bomb for map for his troubles. Why was I thinking bomb?
I mean, he is holding bombs right now.
Meanwhile, Palace of Darkness once again demonstrating that in the front you'll really never find anything more than keys.
Probably going to see a very vanilla hammer jump from zer0rush.
He is going for it.
Ooh, unfortunate death from Michael. That also puts him in fake Dark World. Without the mirror, he has no way to... Oh wait, was that an Overworld death?
I think he may have died outside of the dungeon.
Oh, that's unfortunate. You have the gloves on zer0rush's side.
The first glove still kind of nice. It unlocks a few not very appealing spots. The mitts are just luxury.
The mitts can required much less often. The only thing that can 100 that you can't ever get around are the glove requirements in Ice Palace.
Yep, for the power gloves, you cannot avoid having a glove for Checkerboard Cave in Overworld glitches, and also, yes, whatever the hammer locks in Ice Palace gloves also lock them, those chests, and the boss, of course.
I'm confident that one day we will find a way to get into Checkerboard without gloves. We have all the info we need. It's just, things aren't really lining up. To elaborate on that, Checkerboard Cave stays open permanently. That's because it uses a flag telling the screen to use a different overlay. However, using a potion, we could, in theory, have a screen with a bombable wall, and then use a YBA to change our screen ID to that of a place we want to open up. And if we opened up a bombable wall while the game thought we were on the checkerboard screen, we could open up that cave without the gloves.
So for purely theory crafting, could you somehow carry the screen ID from the light vault side of Hype Cave, which is bombable, to checkerboard cave and then bomb that open?
No, unfortunately, there's no way to chain them. So if you do the same YBA twice, it's just going to give you the same screen ID. It behaves a bit differently in the Underworld with the King of Samaria, where every time you do a little glitch, it updates your screen ID to the next one. 2 bottles in Village of Outcasts from the chess game and the C-shaped house.
Was any of them blue?
Both were.
Michael K demonstrated in the last race that he is very eager to try fake fluting. Unfortunately, he didn't have much success then, but he was also a bunny, I believe, when he was attempting it, and it's much harder to line it up when you have no access to enemies or the ability to bomb yourself.
Michael K heading into Thieves Town to get one of those red crystals, while zer0rush makes quick work of my favorite boss, Helmasaur.
And gets the other red crystal.
Yup. If they decided to stop racing each other and just team up, they could probably open Fat Fairy.
They could just bring half a big bomb each.
That is true.
Unfortunately, we will have to take a break from our NMG dungeon order because we cannot go into Swamp.
That's very unfortunate. zer0rush looks like he's going to get his Cane of Samaria and possibly his Master Sword.
There it is. So for him, that has a 66% chance to put Misery Mire into Logic.
Yup, it's probably not something he wants to see, though. And yes, we are getting an escape clear from zer0rush. That's going to give him his Master Sword in the first chest.
The good news for these races is that, given what we know, the only items that they need for Go Mode are items that are required for Swamp Palace, so this is looking a lot like a Go Mode Swamp.
That's very possible. We do know where the flippers are, we just haven't seen zer0rush obtain them. Oh wait, no, yes, he does have them. Blue things are very confusing. We've got the flippers, the flute, and the blue mail, all in a line.
I think yellow things are more confusing in general, but I can see where you're coming from.
Yeah, yellow and white they don't provide a very nice contrast, so...
They're also invisible in dark rooms.
Yeah. That stinks. Michael without gloves having to open the trap room by killing all the enemies. zer0rush probably going to the back of Escape.
Yes, he is. I think this is the first time we see it. Yeah, definitely, because first glove.
Oh, and there's the Butter Sword. So, Thieves Town being a required crystal, we know that zer0rush has like a 90% chance of getting at least tempered. even if he does pass up the bottle kid. There's no real reason to skip the chest right next to blind, even if you are in go mode.
It all depends. I think he might opt to if he gets Tempered Sword before that, but almost certainly not if he's still on Master Sword. Yeah,
but we know that for players at these levels, the difference between Butter and Tempered is really not much. Tempered's something that you might see players go a little bit out of their way to search for, but you won't see them going for Butter. Speaking of, here comes zer0rush's Tempered Sword. zer0rush is now well equipped to do any dungeon he really wants to right now.
He also has conventional means of Darkhold access, which we will see him use here.
Yep, even though clipping can be very fun, you kind of want to get the seed done more than you want to glitch around.
It is easy to get lost in glitching. Very easy. When the vanilla strat just becomes much faster.
Michael K, recovering from his slightly off-script blind, obtaining his 4th crystal. There's no real definitive lead right now. Both players have covered a lot of ground. They've covered some different ground, but no player's really, wasted a lot of time doing something wrong or messing up a lot. We've seen a couple soft locks that required save and quit, but nothing big.
Yep. zer0rush, I don't believe ended up finding anything super valuable in Ganon's Tower, so Michael K should be able to, as far as we know, skip the Ice Harmos fight. It's not clear if he will opt to. And yes, Michael K is probably going to go into Mire if he can open it up at this point.
Oh, there's our second glove.
That's Mitts.
Yep, or for Michael the first glove.
Yes, it is. Interesting, though. They are very accessible as far as we know now. That could indicate some unfortunate smith chaining, or maybe even Ice Palace.
Well, for zer0rush, it would not be very unfortunate. We could very likely see him go down to the digging game right after Thieves Town, and then he just has to go back up with his mitts to do the smith chain. The only real thing that might keep him away from doing that is the lack of mirror.
Or even flute, so it's definitely not going to be an easy adventure.
Yeah, so don't be surprised if he doesn't do that. Looks like we have Ether for Midray Mire, so that's one less item that we know is not required. Referring to the Quake Medallion. So that puts us with just the hookshot left to find.
And the mirror.
Hookshot and mirror. Although we haven't seen that from either player. We still have a lot of ground to cover with this seed.
This could still go into Turtle Rock and Ice Palace, unfortunately, at this point.
Yep, the mirror locks very few locations outside of Swamp Palace. We know that in this seed, it does not lock the Fat Fairy. So I believe the only thing they cannot reach would be Mimic Cave.
It is very interesting because if you don't find an early mirror, then the mirror is like almost entirely optional except for Swamp Palace. But if you do find it, it serves as a replacement for Moonfall for a lot of locations.
That is true, and zer0rush now has his Butter Sword. That puts us at one piece of equipment away from a fully pimped out Link. Although some of you may prefer the banana hat.
The banana hat is glorious.
We do have both players in their 5th crystal dungeon. Right? Meyer's a crystal, right?
Meyer is indeed a crystal. zer0rush even has time to headbang during the entirely on-script blind fight that we're seeing here.
Not anymore. Though, you know, not too much off script. That's our 5th crystal for zer0rush and Fat Fairy access. So, barring any very weird hookshot and mirror locations, this is a much better seed than what they had yesterday.
For now, don't curse it yet. Or do, if you're a speed gaming viewer. As unfortunately neither... Well, okay, hookshot locks a lot of things, but we've seen a very, very large bit of it, and we know that there's not particularly a whole lot behind it, and mirror locks virtually nothing, so we are looking for 2 items that could basically be anywhere.
Yeah, so besides the back of Swamp, which is going to contain neither of the items we want, it literally can't. The only thing that we know is hookshot locked that may potentially contain the mirror is hookshot cave.
And the only thing that's mirror locked that could contain the hookshot would be the front of Swamp and Mimic Cave, right?
I do believe so. zer0rush grabs his mitts. Now let's see if he decides to go for Smithy or Meyer.
He's definitely not going to be happy about it, that's for sure.
Yup, it looks like we are getting Smithy along with Hammer Pegs.
He's probably opting to do a more standard or NMG. No, he's actually just saving quitting. Yeah,
no Hammer Pegs. Possibly going to do them with Purple Chest. We may also see zer0rush use Fake Powder. He did not have the Cane of Samaria when he was in Kakariko with the Mushroom earlier, and Michael took the opportunity to Fake Powder.
I do not believe he turned in his Mushroom yet.
Nope, and I don't believe he checked the shovel spot either. So while we know it's nothing, this is a very good routing from zer0rush, lumping in a few items that are usually one-offs and isolated with each other.
Leaves it there, as he should. It is a very nice trash item because it decides to rebury itself if people don't want it.
Oh, zer0rush is also lumping in Checkerboard. While Michael K takes a hit out on that annoying coup. Michael K deciding he liked that glitch so much he's going to do it again. Oh, no, or save and quit. Michael likes saving and quitting.
It is a very fast way to get back to your house. I wish I could do it IRL.
That would be pretty convenient. So it looks like we're getting the South Dark World check.
I do not believe either player has done this before, because I would remember Hypecave ratings from this seed.
Yep, so, you know, get your 0-10s out. Know how much chat loves that. Also consider other ratings, such as, you know, F out of 3. And do not forget your IGN 8 out of 10, too much water.
Well, I don't think that's worth a 0.
Yup, wells do have too much water, and we have zer0rush performing a light world fake flute. Unlike in the dark world, this has no additional consequences. He won't be in fake light world when he first uses it, he'll be in the real light world.
This is one of the very, very rare occurrences where you decide to use your blue potion to move around in the light world.
Yep, but he had just saved and quit from Sank and gone to King's Tomb. I think it was a pretty good move.
It was.
Being almost fully pimped out, he's probably not too worried about health and magic. In fact, he does not want magic, but, you know, he opts to be boring and does not use the medallion cancel, which he could also do by jumping on that hole and not falling in, and then moving up and down while pressing Y on the same frame.
I believe he was just expressing his gratitude for the 20 rupees he got from the Smiths by setting their house on fire.
Yeah, more or less he was saying, this is pretty hot. Michael K going into pod, getting his 5th crystal? Yeah, 5th crystal. 6! 6 crystal. That's a lot of crystals.
To answer the question in chat, no. Cape is entirely luxury in this mode.
Yup, as long as you can laser skip and you have enough health for Spike Cave, it is not required. And for every requirement it does have, it also has an alternative. Michael K using a very cool move that, you know, I like to think I thought of, but maybe someone else has. Sword's actually the fastest way to push a statue. So, normally it's not really worth the time it takes to charge and release a spin, but by spinning off that Helmosaur, you get boosted up a little, putting you right near the stairs. Might not be faster, but it does look cool.
We do appreciate style points around here.
I'll have to ask him where he learned that. So zer0rush is deciding to do the entire smithy sequence. And that might also take him to Meyer next. He'll be able to clip up onto the ledge and open up the rock. And that would earn him his 6th crystal.
At this point, he is probably being troubled by the fact that he got a fairly free myth, which comes with fairly dire implications. He is trying to see if Ice Palace is very skippable. If he gets something from the chest here, I don't think he'll opt to dip it for a long while. But otherwise, he might just go for it after Maya, which we know does not contain any of the items he's looking for.
The Ice Palace isn't really... I'd say it's, you know, it's not a bad play, but it's not the best play because it still could technically require the hook shot in certain instances. So that gives it a slightly lower chance than other dungeons, which almost never require a hook shot.
However, with a optimal, or should I say suboptimal item layout, you could be required to go as far as Iced Tea without the hook shot.
Yeah, that is not fun. We have zer0rush getting his 8 out of 10 too much water.
He is in a rush to get his 0 out of 10.
I don't get it.
Me neither.
Well, hopefully someone in chat explains that joke. Doing a very vanilla Fat Fairy, not though at this point he doesn't have much choice. Could very well contain the mirror. I don't think Michael's going to get this bomb jump because that bomb is pretty far to the right.
I think the X is fine. Yeah, it was.
Yep, he was Yep, he ended up being good. It's really Link who shouldn't be too far right, but if the bomb's too far right, sometimes you can't even get hit by it unless Link is too far right to succeed. Although Michael does find his mitts.
So other than... Go ahead. Nothing at all.
Nope.
So, what else is there that's open to our races we haven't seen? And
not much of the
potentially
Dark
get the
World
items.
Overworld is left to do.
I think we may have not seen a Super Bunny Cave yet.
Yeah, I don't believe we've seen any of that.
But they're probably also saving it for the time when they finally decide to dip Turtle Rock.
And obtain the hookshot, because that's only 2 items on the Overworld there. Now, actually 3 items, because the first one does only require boots, no hookshot.
And this is an interesting one. So Zero's opting to combine a mushroom turn-in with... Oh no, he was actually fake fluting in the light world. That wasn't worth it.
Yeah, no, it was not. I would have just, used the portal. But you just get money, and you may get more blue potions, likely for more fake flutes.
I was actually wondering, because if he does that in the Dark World, he could have potentially combined it with Catfish, but at the same time, he wouldn't be able to re-enter the Witch's Hut to pick up the item, so that's true.
Yeah, it looks like we're getting a Meyer play, zer0rush. Setting up a spooky and also a minor graphical glitch. When you flute the wrong way, not everything gets done properly. So you're able to move instantly, and the duck still creates some Link graphics with it. So you may have noticed that there was a Link flying down while zer0rush went over to the rock.
I was half expecting you to tell us about the graphical glitch that involves Maya actually having rain.
Meyer has rain?
I know, I thought it was just a flashing screen.
I always thought people meant Ryan.
I think that's spelled with a Y.
Maybe. Michael outmaneuvering Helmosaur. He's gonna be able to make quick work with either Butter or Silver here. Meanwhile, zer0rush takes on Meyer. He's gonna go to the end of the dungeon, kill Ryan, and get his 6th crystal.
As we saw on Michael's screen, both the key and the item layout is actually fairly friendly, so he'll probably make quick work of this.
Right now, the major difference between Michael and zer0rush is that zer0rush has cleared Ganon's tower. Ooh, going for a hover. He might not want to be checking Meyer for items.
That is an interesting play, because both of them could be here.
Well, he fails it, so he's gonna at least check this chest. And we'll have to see if he decides to continue on from there. 1 item. It looks like zer0rush is hedging his bets that Ryan has the 2nd item. Doing so would allow him to skip a lot of the dungeon, which is pretty slow, and in a race like this, where you have a lot of... He probably feels that Michael is in the same position as him. He would be correct.
Meanwhile, it looks like Michael's finishing up his Dark World checks in the southern area. Probably going to also take the big bomb to the Pyramid Ferry, and then he's going to show us something new, I think.
Yeah, fun fact, in the vanilla game, the big bomb actually requires the smith to be rescued, just like the purple chest. That was removed in Randomizer because they decided that with crystals being random, it would be as fun if for the Big Bomb to have such hard requirements.
Also, I believe that's because the vanilla game just does not have progressives, so you just instantly get buttered, right?
Maybe. I'm not sure if that came before they added chest there. Not sure what Michael's doing. He might have been trying to lump in the Big Bomb, but both the Big Bomb and the Smith are followers, so you can only have one at once.
And I think the Smith is not overwritten by the Big Bomb either, so...
Nope. Followers will not appear when you have one follower. At least they shouldn't.
I think that you can cancel the Smith by picking up Kiki.
That may be true. I've never seen that, though. That would be a very weird move.
You'd only require it if you... Okay, if you don't open the entrance of Palace of Darkness in the entrance randomizer, and you pick up the Smith, and then you somehow enter go mode, and you don't know where to deliver him, or have a very hard time getting there, it could be a thing.
Oh, that might be a patch then, because I know they have made a bunch of patches to make sure that followers play nice. For example, if you enter the same super tile as the Blind Maiden, it will delete whatever follower you have, unless it is blind. Looks like Ryan didn't have an item because zer0rush is back inside looking for that second item. Probably crossing his fingers that it is not on the big key chest, although he's probably uncrossing his fingers at certain times to continue playing the game.
I don't know, he strikes me as the kind of guy that could probably play with crossed fingers.
Probably, but there's the second item. So, now it's a question of where are Hookshot and Mirror? And we are probably seeing this dark East Death Mountain play. But maybe also Ganon's Tower and Spike Cave. Or Graveyard Ledge.
Or Graveyard Ledge. I don't know if any of our races have cleared that yet.
I do believe Michael did it much earlier.
zer0rush demonstrating that the back wall cannot be opened by bonking after placing a bomb.
No, it cannot, but he did slash the door, which now the game remembers that the last door he slashed at was that door.
Which won't come in too handy for him, because he does not need to use a major glitch to open that.
Nope. Sounds like you know about what Samari is.
I read the documentation and that's about it.
I mean, you gotta admit, it's pretty cool.
It is pretty cool.
You want to open a door, just, slash at it.
This looks new, however. And this will probably lead into East Death Mountain play, regardless of what he finds here.
No, because he went in with a broken camera, so I do believe he'll be going to save and quit. No Ganon's Tower play, probably.
He did have a blue potion, so he could have used spin speed to get out of there.
I guess we are getting the Ganon's Tower play, because he's, once again, not fixing his camera. Taking a look at the both players' items, zer0rush is at a slight disadvantage because he has the red boomerang.
Ooh, that's not good. Yeah, he saves and quits out of it.
Yeah, that is... Yeah, pretty much stuck there. Can't do anything.
If you get thrown like that, sometimes you can move. In no known situation is it useful, as far as I'm aware.
Nope, it's pretty much just an oopsie. Try again.
It's a great way to get into an infinite scroll, though.
There are better ways.
To answer the question in chat, yes, he did complete Ganon's Tower. However, at the time, he did not have the red cane, so he never could enter the right side of it, which could potentially contain progression.
Michael K might be following him into the tower, although he will be able to complete all of it at once.
I don't know if he can hover, so he may not be able to do the upper side, unless he manages to pick up a hookshot.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I don't really know his capabilities that well.
I heard it's kind of hard to lift. zer0rush is really fond of that throw, to the point where he does it 3 times in a row.
Yeah, it looks like he's just one pixel not deep enough. I'll have to tell him that in the interview when you're doing that clip, you can't actually jump off that as a ledge. So just keep buffering into it until you're at the very edge, and then do your downright input. He's probably stopping early to it because he thinks it might jump him down.
But as the spin speed clip there usually demonstrates it, you get stuck. Ooh. Now he's severed Link's head from his body. Yeah, you get stuck at the very end, so you just have to clip in as far as the game allows you.
Well, now we get to see if anything on the right side of GT is useful.
Michael K demonstrating a minor glitch where you hold onto anything while you have the cape active, and you won't be draining magic.
Yep, you can also hover this way. For some reason, grabbing just decides not to run a bunch of code, including falling code and code that lets the magic cape drain. zer0rush does finally make it into Ganon's Tower, though, and he'll be joining Michael on the right side of GT.
It actually makes a whole lot of sense if you think about it, because if you're holding onto something, you're not falling.
I don't know. I mean, if you just think about how Link's holding it, I feel like he'd fall. Michael K trying to reset this room despite it being in the same super tile. We'll just have to wait out this torch.
I think zer0rush, after picking up those 4 chests, will realize he does not have the map, and he will be able to skip Towel Room with it. It's very good for him.
Oh, I've not been keeping track, but if that is the case, that would be a nice bit of time save to recover from all those failed clips. Well, that's usually not something to think about in Ganon's Tower, so we'll have to see if he does realize that as well. Although there is the mirror.
He opened his menu, he could have seen... I think he knows.
Yep, both players now have their mirror. zer0rush, saving and quitting. We're probably going to see the right side of Death Mountain, also known as East Death Mountain. But this is a good bit of news, because this means that Hookshot Cave is not in the logic except for the first chest. So zer0rush does not have to spend any time hovering to the back 3 chests.
It is sort of relative, because now the front of Swamp is in logic, though.
Yup. But obviously, he could just go to Turtle Rock and check those 3 chests on the Overworld, and then he'll be fine otherwise. Michael K going for the bomb jump into Stalfos room. So we're probably going to see at least a full left side clear from him.
To answer a question that came up in chat, for the GT clip, yes, you line up with the horizontal wall that you usually do it with when you use the spin speed clip. And you just clip all the way to the left as far as the game allows you, and just press down right on the same frame and you'll be jumping into Ganon's Tower.
zer0rush using a beautiful fast setup for the laser bridge mirror wrap, not in logic, but
it makes the most sense because Turtle Rock will be backloaded in this mode.
Cannot find the big key here, but it does allow him to go backward through the dungeon and then find the big key upstairs and just mirror back down here.
Unfortunately, only one item on Laser Bridge out of the potential 3, or even 4 if the key layout allows for it, so he'll have to traverse a lot.
Wonder if he knows the Super Scudge secret to this dark room. Looks like he does not. For anyone wondering, the Super Scudge secret is hold up.
Oh, if you just hold up from the bottom spot, you'll end up at the top?
Yup. It's a bit longer than finding your way around, but...
Yeah, usually try to wiggle myself off to the left side of the room, because then I know if I hold up, then I'll end up there. I never actually considered that, though.
I prefer just holding up. zer0rush's route is gonna... It's not gonna let him check Mimic Cave or the big chest. And because he has not opened the front of Turtle Rock, it will require him to mirror to the Dark World if he wants to check those locations.
He does have the ability to pick up the vanilla big key chest here because he did bring a key from the backside, so he can safely go all the way to the front, which means he could infer that the big chest ends up being unimportant. But as you said, Mimic Cave, it's still a problem.
Yep, he actually, that means he skipped a small key door by going upstairs. There's no door on the other side to also update that door. So he's gonna have 2 spare keys.
Yep, he does that exactly twice. Once when coming out of the Samari room backwards, and once when coming into the chain jump room backwards. That's 2 small keys that you never have to spend. If you have the mirror, of course. Realizing that without the hook shot, he needs to do something a little more vanilla.
Michael K. skipping that last chest. At least it looked like it.
Ooh, I totally missed that.
Someone
Did he only pick up 3 of the chests in Randa room?
Yeah, I do believe that the big key was in that room. Maybe he... It's a weird decision.
He is going to ice armor, so he definitely doesn't think he's in the go mode. Oh, no, he's actually absolutely right, because that one chest can never have the hook shot.
Oh, good point. Yep, gets the big key, realizes that can't have the hook shot, and so he's just going to clear what he knows can, which does include Bob's chest and these 3 chests behind ice armors.
And that also means he probably won't be opening any chests upstairs, although if he cannot hover, he won't even be going there.
Yep, and we're probably also going to see him skip the big chest as well. We know, however, that there is no hookshot in Ganon's Tower. So, yep, Michael skipping chest that he's deduced cannot have the hookshot. Saving and quitting, probably going to Turtle Rock because that will be his last crystal.
It's a pendant, though.
Oh, right. It's, swamp. You know what? Just ignore me. Everything I've said, forget the last hour and a half.
I've been trying really hard, but it's not that easy.
Good morning and welcome to our race. a quick, clean fight from zer0rush against Trinext. Getting our first not crystal and the hook shot.
It's the hook shot. So that means zer0rush is now officially in go mode after 1 hour and 25 minutes, give or take a few seconds.
Yup, that's a pretty big deal, and you know what? You said it about... Well, I wasn't here because, I just came in, but you said about an hour and a half ago that this seed is screaming Turtle Rock.
It has been. You got every tool you needed to get that hook shot about 10 minutes into the game, Moonpole included.
Yep, and we're probably going to see a blue YBA from zer0rush. This is going to be the fastest way down the swamp area, but you will notice that he'll look like he's in the light world, and he won't be able to use the mirror because the game will think he is still in the light world.
He did, however, wait, what was it?
He realized that he's not going to be able to mirror, so he's going to have to do this screen transition real quick. There we go.
Oh yes, I'd like to note that Turtle Rock actually was Quake, so given the key layout, I think you logically needed to get that.
I don't really remember it, and I don't know the key logic that well anyways. I always just ignore it because you can.
Yep, when you mirror wrap into Turtle Rock, key logic no longer exists. There is 100% chance that you will be able to get to the front entrance as long as you are mindful of the pokey key in the center.
So we're going to see zer0rush blaze through Swamp Palace. Michael still has to do what he believes is necessary to find the hookshot, which is the front half of Turtle Rock. Hopefully we see him do Trinext, and after that he will also have to do Ganon's Tower.
Yep, I think at this point it's safe to say that zer0rush has a pretty commanding lead.
Yep, and if you have everything you need to complete this dungeon and you don't care about the chest, it is a very fast dungeon. Being pretty much fully pimped out, we're probably not going to see any chests be checked.
Yeah, I don't think he is going to hunt for that red mail, which would be the only thing that he's missing from being, as you say, fully pimped.
Pimped out.
Pimped out.
There's a very big difference. Yeah, 2 keys in that room, I do believe, means that Quake is logically required.
Where was the big key? It was not vanilla, so it has to be Chain Chomp at this point? Or did he already pick it up?
I think it was Chain Chomp. Well, we'll see in a second, because he came in through the front entrance only.
You know what? It's not actually required. I think you cannot lock yourself out because the lava chest was the soul key and the roller room. No, that can't be it because there was another one on the laser bridge. You could lock yourself out, so you needed the Quake.
Yeah, see, this is why I like major glitches better, because it makes the assumption that you know how to use your keys.
It doesn't make that assumption. You can just skip keys with Cave State, right?
Or just respawn them. You can use door glitches to overwrite the data from one room into another. Every room tracks whether or not a key has been grabbed in that room. So if you're in a room that never has a key, then you door glitch onto a room that for a key you have grabbed, that key's going to be back. Michael is showing us a small effect of hammer dashing out of the entrance. It's going to keep you hammer dashing. If that mirror portal wasn't there, he would just keep going.
You could just cancel it, right?
Yep, just by pressing the Y button. So, you know, if you ever decide to try hammer dashing out and you don't realize that that was a sort of bad idea, and you think you're stuck, just press Y.
I've seen one item dash with a very interesting result. If you cane dash through the last room with the ice and the mini helm swords against her, and right into the door, it will just send you back down.
That is interesting. I don't think I've seen that.
zer0rush making very quick work of the first two phases of Ganon. Isn't even phased by the damage.
The Ganon is, though. And it's the only way to phase Ganon.
In fact, he is so phased that he decides to teleport about 6-7 times.
zer0rush probably thinking to himself, boy, I am glad this is not an NMG run. Ooh, Michael K takes an unfortunate death there.
This Ganon is very unfriendly. I want a new one.
Yeah, that was that like 20 warps or something?
In total, close to that.
zer0rush showing Ganon the silver arrows that were found on Death Mountain.
He did do a double into a fire rod torch glitch, followed by another single, and a final single.
But Michael Tay taking another unfortunate death. Guess that roller's just not playing nice.
And with that, zer0rush finishes this seed at 1 hour 32 minutes and 14 seconds. I unfortunately do not know the official SRTV time. Let me check if I can pull that up. But in the meantime, we know that he will be moving on to the next round of the tournament.
Yep, who's his opponent? Or who are his potential opponents?
Give me 1 second here, I'm working on it. zer0rush will move on to face the winner of the Gem and Error matchup.
Ooh, I know who I've got my money on, but after that, it's a real toss-up.
I know who the voters have their money on.
Huh?
I know who the voters have their money on. The ones who vote for the matchups in the brackets.
Oh. Michael K never actually found that blue mail. And also, unfortunately, it looked like he found the red boomerang.
I think the blue mail was either in upstairs GT or the one chest that he decided to skip.
That's probably correct.
Hello, zer0rush and GG.
Hello, good games.
This game was definitely much closer and also definitely much friendlier.
Yeah, I played it a lot better too, other than that like 5th try Ganon clip.
Yeah, so
Couldn't
here's
get the
what
right
we need to
pixel.
know. If you're lined up properly, you cannot jump by moving too far left.
Oh, yeah, that would have been good to know.
Yeah, just keep clipping, and once you can't clip anymore, do your inputs. But Michael is about to get his hook shot, enter go mode, and then it's just a quick swamp and Ganon fight. So we're having a much closer match. Although it does look like he is ahead of you by over an hour and 30 minutes.
Did he not start his timer?
No, he never did.
Yeah, I've done that before. That's awkward because then you don't know where you're at. But yeah, it was a good seed.
You two were pretty close together for a while.
You have been pretty much even on crystals. Your big advantage was, of course, that you picked up a pearl a bit earlier, so you could go ahead and do upper GT by hovering, of course. And I still think he hasn't done that, so...
He still has all of Upper Ganon's Tower to do, along with Swamp. I forgot about that.
Okay,
He
so
did,
that's
however...
like 10 minutes.
He did, however, give us a little parade for picking up that hookshot finally off of Trinex, even leaving the pendant behind.
Yep, you can't mirror. That might be changing in a later version of Rando. I know it was noted. But you can save and quit, and that is to prevent mostly soft locks with blind, where sometimes having the Cane of Samaria block on screen made it so the crystal never spawned.
So, tell us, Zero, how do you feel about that cane that was blocking your mirror?
I mean, that's why I went to Uncle and Hyrule Castle after, I think it was after Ganon, so it was pretty early, is because there's so much stuff in the Light World, and I just assumed that there was probably more stuff, especially because left side Ganon's Tower had absolutely nothing, so I assumed Hookshot would probably be the last item, or one of the last items I found, but waited too long to go to Turtle Rock. I was just putting it off and putting it off, even though as soon as I found both Fire Rod and Ice Rod, I knew it was probably going to make me do Turtle Rock. I was at that point thinking that Hookshot might be on pedestal though, but ended up not being the case.
That was a possibility.
Yeah, neither of you went into Ice Palace though.
Yeah, Ice Palace is lame. Why go do Ice Palace for 3 items when you can do Turtle Rock for 6?
Also, it could potentially be hookshot locked.
Yeah.
At least logically.
Exactly. I don't know. I think I made a more of a gamble skipping all of Skull Woods than I did skipping Ice Palace personally.
I don't know, it's only 2 items. When Skull Woods is open, you have about 4,000 other locations open as well.
Yeah, I mean that's ultimately the that's overworld glitches for you.
How'd you feel about Zora?
Oh, I'm so glad I saw that red rupee on the ledge. So I was like, okay, worst case, I don't have to sit here and fire Rod Zoras for 20 minutes.
Did have a flashback that very moment. In one of my earlier races, I went there with 489 rupees. There was no rupee on the ledge that I could have picked up, and well, I ended up dying to one of the crabs while trying to hammer my way to 500. Zora has been haunting me that entire seed. You solved that situation pretty well, even though it was kind of a agonizingly long loop.
Yeah. I just thought, I was like, what are the chances that I don't find a single red rupee in like 5 item locations and a bunch of enemies?
Turns out it's pretty high.
Yeah.
In those exact situations, you'll find all the heart pieces you'll ever need in a seed.
One of those seeds that, kind of bottleneck for crystal progress. You had like 6 crystals for something 50 minutes in.
Yeah. I think It was like 38-ish minutes when I finished Ganon's Tower, so that would have been GT done plus 5 pistols at pretty quick pace, yeah, something like that. Maybe a little later.
Sword locations actually worked out pretty nice for you. Michael had Tempered Sword very quickly. He checked Uncle right off the bat, and I believe he had a bottle when he was first visiting Kakariko.
Michael's very close to taking a lethal hit from Argus, but he manages to avoid it. Unfortunately, he cannot seem to land the silver arrow shots. There we go. Fairly vanilla finish for him at this point. He'll have to do Ganon's Tower followed by Ganon himself.
Yeah, so we're not seeing the huge disparity we saw yesterday where Michael was stuck looking for the pearl much longer than zer0rush. Well, so he was having to do a bunch of random locations while zer0rush was cleaning up the Dark World. In this case, both players are pretty close. Definitely an edge for zer0rush on execution, but I wouldn't say either person's routing was necessarily bad.
I think I couldn't think of a single routing decision that I really disagree with from either player. So it's like really good. Zero's hover advantage worked out pretty well in his favor.
We never really had them like running around from isolated location to isolated location. It was, for the most part, just, you know, big chunks of item locations all done together.
Yep, and with the seed front loaded like that, just, you know, fire rod, bow, red cane, the Maya medallion, everything in your... Well, I think most of this was in the starting sphere, or all of this. You had access to pretty much everything except Swamp.
Yeah, I think the only thing in Dark World was Hookshot and Mirror and the gloves, but the gloves weren't actually required. I can't remember what Ether was. I think Ether was in my book too.
Ether was Floating Island. It was the first I think it was Floating Island. Not Floating, Lake Hylia Island.
Yeah, it was Hylia Island, I think. You both had it within a minute or so.
No, zer0rush, I think, got a little bit later. Yeah, because he does the Houlihan opening.
Oh, yeah. True.
Oh, no, it would have been Hobo, I think. Ether was on Island yesterday, I believe.
It was on... okay. Now that you say it was on Hobo.
Yeah, right there, though. Yeah, so really just Hookshot and Mirror in Dark World. That's pretty much it, and mitts, which weren't needed for anything.
Yeah, Michael, he looked right at the island, and did the same glitch, but instead of auto-walking down, he went up to Hobo, to the cliff near Hobo, and did a fake flipper.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Also, no real flipper hunt. It was mostly, like, the items you were really looking for most of the time were Mirror and Hookshot.
And those are probably the second and the third worst, because Flipper truly locks nothing other than Swamp Palace.
Yeah, if Hookshot was in Swamp, I probably would have ended up full clearing the game.
You didn't even think about it instead of Ice Palace as your...
Probably not. Just because by the time I was getting around to do Ice Palace, it would have been too easy to route Ice Palace plus Green Pendant into Skullwoods plus Pedestal at that point. So, I don't know. It's a toss-up, but I probably would have went the Pedestal route instead of the front half of Swamp.
It actually leads into a question I wanted to ask. So, you did find the bow, the hammer, and the pearl in the very first sphere, and then in the very next one you did pick up both gloves. So did Ice Palace not even occur to you as the correct play at any point?
I thought it might be, but it's just a pain to do Ice Palace when it's a pendant. And I did the other niche checks, the Smiths and Purple Chest. So, I mean, it's not the. I wouldn't say it's a bad decision to do Ice Palace at that point, and it very well could have been the right one, but I just didn't want to.
You had a much cleaner segue into the Smith sequence because you had done Pod first for your first glove. Michael got his first glove from the digging game.
Yep, so he ended up getting mitts as the reward for completing his 6th crystal, I believe. I think Pod was his 6th dungeon.
Yeah, but it was in the Dark Mage, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
I'm just glad the seed gave you a lot of bottles. It kind of made it really convenient to do those one-offs at the end.
Yeah, you had 2 of them in Village of Outcasts.
Came pre-filled with blues as well. Ooh, Michael opting not to pick up the arrows from under the skull, and he is out of silvers.
Yeah, that's a bit unfortunate. We might see him go for maybe a prize pack pull. Maybe he's hoping this last chest has some arrows.
Little fireworks for killing Warbone 2. It's not that big of an achievement in my opinion, but
unfortunately, he does have the shovel, which means he can dig for arrows, which is a randomizer-only feature.
does that work in the Dark World as well?
Oh, yes, in the Dark World. I don't believe it works on the Stumpy screen, though.
No,
Definitely
it definitely
on
doesn't.
I also think it doesn't work on the digging game screen.
And we are seeing some Swagnet Aga 2 strats.
Yep, Michael may have seen zer0rush as done, but there's no reason not to, there's no reason to sulk about your loss. Making the best of it, showing us some cool strats that you probably wouldn't see for someone who thinks they still have a champ.
He would have a much easier time with it if he used net dashes, though.
Yep, but he's got to show off his skills.
But he did it. He is down to 2 hearts, but he gets to show off the swag.
Failing to realize you cannot catch that bat, and even if you could, I don't think he has any empty bottles.
Now, how cool would it be if you could release the bat to fight Ganon, though?
That bat is Ganon.
Right, but...
I want everyone to notice that this hole to Ganon does kind of look like a cucko.
He does not seem to be worried about the arrow situation. Yet.
Although if this game had yellow potions and he had one of those yellow potions, those would likely give him more arrows. Michael now gets to endure the same teleports that zer0rush did.
Realizing he cannot stop the teleports by hookshotting at the invincible Ganon.
quick little 2 teleport tease before this last monstrosity. And we're going for silverless strats. Misses the torch glitch, but with half magic and 2 more potions, that should be fine.
He's using pokes, so he'll have to do twice as many of those.
Yeah, that's an interesting decision, but it does work. I feel it does look like he's trying to do some poke dashes, which would deal the same amount of damage as a spin.
He'll have to time those torch lightings better, however, because now he doesn't get to... Oh, he does get the 2.
The bright side of this for Ganon is that he does get to warp more.
I think the bright side of this is mostly the bottom of the screen, because that's where the lanterns are.
Yeah, fun fact, there's actually a 3rd lantern right under this room.
I haven't been counting, but I think he's over halfway done.
I'll say where I think he's at when the fight's over.
He is now down to the last fill of magic. Should be enough.
Depends on how seriously he takes it.
Fair enough. With a single fill, he has 8 relights in total. Each relight should give him the ability to poke about 2 to 3 times, and there we go.
Okay, I do believe we are halfway over now.
You say that, but he could wander off to the left and fall down the hole.
Yep, you might notice that the fire... Yeah, he's soft locked.
Seriously?
Yep, that's what happened. Yep, you know the item dash glitch we mentioned earlier? That's sort of happening right now, but he does not have any magic to, get himself out of this.
So he has to... hard reset?
Yeah, I don't think he can save and quit, and he definitely cannot use the pause menu.
I'm sorry, I cannot stop laughing right now. This is a very unfortunate, but...
I'm probably trying to message us in Morse code. I don't know Morse code.
The beeping is beautiful.
Might also be trying to, have that mean censored swear words.
Is this not one of those situations that resolve themselves in 18 minutes?
No, I don't believe so. I've never tried it, though.
Well, the good news is if he decides to reset, oh no, he'd have to do Ganon's Tower all over again.
Yeah, he would.
Now, I don't have the SRTV room still. We should see if...
But I mean, we can call this an unofficial finish of 0 hours, 0 minutes, and 0 seconds.
Yes, we can.
He did do a forfeit after the soft lock, I believe.
Alright,
Yeah.
so he forfeited the match after this. Let's see if we can get him in for an interview.
Yeah, that's extra unfortunate because yesterday he also believed he was in a soft lock. This time he really is, though.
Hi, Michael. That was a beautiful fish.
Yeah, I didn't even thought that could happen. The soft lock, but it was the perfect ending after this.
Yeah, so my first question is, where did you learn that statue push strat for the front of pod?
I just saw it in another run.
Was it me?
Might be. I just saw it at someone in the spring tourney, I know.
I'm still going to say I did it first.
Yeah, probably they copied you and I copied them. That's the explanation.
I mean, it is a pretty cool strat, because holding your sword out is the fastest way to push a statue. And the recoil from the helmet sword does, it should, mitigate the time loss.
Oh, I didn't time it, but I personally just like the strat, and I don't like opening the right door.
So, how do you feel about the seed itself?
I thought, of course, it was Todorock pendant, but why was it required?
The signs were all there. You got the red cane, the 2 rods, even hammer. If you needed a good weapon for Trinex in the very, very early stages of the game. For you, Moonpole and Lamp were a bit late because you decided to skip Minimal Dome until after you've done 2 of the crystals, I believe.
I believe I had actually 3 crystals at that point.
Right, and we kind of expected you to find the mirror instead of the pearl and have a salty run back of the last seed where you ended up having to hunt for the pearl for a very long time.
I would have finished the entire light word before going that way again.
You're actually very close to zer0rush for a lot of the seed. It was really the hunt for hookshot and mirror that kind of started seeing the separation and zer0rush slowly gain a lead. And part of that was that zer0rush was able to hover through not just the left side of Ganon's tower, but also the top and get Agatu out of the way very early.
Yeah, I tried to learn hovering just for cases like this, but I just can't. No matter how much I practiced, the best I got was 2 pixels or something.
Yeah, for the most part, you guys were absolutely head-to-head. He did have a up against our advantage, but you basically went to the right side of GT and picked up your mirror at the same time. So that's when the lead became clear. I didn't exactly keep 100% track of it, but I think you've exhausted almost all other options at that point.
Well, except Ice Palace.
You mean for the mirror?
For both the mirror and the hookshot, basically. You did have the 2 pendant top dungeons open, but yeah, that's about it. Well, 3 because the back of school woods could have led to
I had a few
pedestal.
Overworld locations also, like Pyramid Ferry and Pyramid Ledge, Catfish, but mostly, yeah, I cleared almost everything.
All right. Any other thoughts about this seed before we finish up here?
I just wanted to say I forgot to do LC blinds this time. I wanted to do it, but was at marking off my tracker at that point and forgot about it.
That's unfortunate.
I guess I just say bye now.
Sure.
I think so do we. So, with that, I've been Baliame, and
I haven't.
exactly. And thank you all for tuning in and watching this race, and we'll see you next time.
It was a good race by both of you.
Yeah, good games, Michael, and hope to see you in whenever we have another one of these.
Yeah, GG's. Hopefully next time it's actually a close finish.
Oh, okay, let's give Michael this. He did make it into Ganon's Tower a lot easier.
Yes, he did. We'd also like to give a shout out to Flaffykins, who has been cracking this race and keeping us up with the items that we may have missed. And I think that's it.
Anything else going on speed gaming channels right now?
I'm looking. I think there's Celeste any percent on Speed Gaming 1 going on right now. For more rando content, I don't see anything. However, oh, hold on. Oh no, that's not being restreamed right now. There's a match going on between Aktabaka and Mentosman right now, but it is not on a Speed Gaming channel.
That's unfortunate.
We do have coming up on Speed Gaming 2 at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, match 1 between Faraimi and Hacksaw in this tournament, however. Oh, yes, and as Chad points out, if you understand German language, you should check out the German tournament on Speed Gaming Deutsch.
DEUTSCH, I believe.
Yep.